Māori mano marae, Rotorua.
One of the biggest things that I suppose hurt for us wasn't just my uncle's image, but it was a blatant disregard of years and years and decades of toil.
Wai o te tā ki ngā mea Māori ki ngā Māori. Wai o te tā ki ngā mea o roto o te hae ki te hahi Māori. I ngā he o Māui he.
And my sisters, my nieces, everybody here is involved in some way or another. So it wasn't just me standing here saying, oh, I'm a little bit upset. It's about you've upset the whānau. And I could not ignore that.
The greatest apology goes to Matua Patrick and to your whānau. We disrespected you and those that stand with you.
This is no ordinary apology for what is becoming an increasingly repetitive situation, identity theft, loss of mana, and cultural appropriation.
The thing that got me the most were the people in the picture around me. They were people that, especially grandchildren and friends. The wero itself, that position in particular is one that everybody adopts from our style. So I saw my father, I saw my nephews, I saw us all combined metaphorically within that position, but we were the people that were with me is what got me most.
A month ago, Pat's son discovered that his father was part of this photo from Christian group Hope Project. Only problem is, it wasn't his father. And when the rest of the whānau found out, they were distraught.
It took me back to colonisation and how they believe that it's okay to do that sort of thing.
Pat's sisters realised the photo had been manipulated.
And when I had a closer look, I thought, who does that? Why does it get to be all right? And why do you think you even have a chance of getting away with it? I wouldn't do it to you any more than I'd expect you to do it to me or mine. It isn't right. Nobody has the right to take someone else's image and do that with it. It is wrong.
Well-known Māori photographer Te Rāwhitirua Bosch took the original photo, a photo that led to enormous cultural and personal implications for his Uncle Pat.
Because it was Uncle Pat, because it was our wānanga mautaiaha o Mokoia, which I've been a part of for the last decade, you know, those layers and layers and layers, and that was the real thing. And like Uncle Pat said, if it was just him, he wouldn't be that worried. But if it was one of his nephews that got done, or, you know, one of his sisters that their image got done, then, you know, he would have been racked up. And that's the thing that really, so it hurt on all those levels, and I wasn't going to let that go.
That's because the photo was taken on the sacred island of Mokoia at a traditional Māori martial art weaponry school, a school Pat's parents, Mita Kaiwero and Hukarere Mohi, founded over 40 years ago, so further knowledge of the art form would not be lost due to colonisation.
So we've always tried to use the weapon as a healing instrument, as a vehicle towards and how the culture can help our young men be better young men and be more Māori in our way moving forward. Taiaha's vehicle, the types of teaching that are associated to Taiaha are huge. There's so many different levels, so many variations of Taiaha, and how a young man can use those teachings for their own life skills.
And of course, cultural appropriation is nothing new, but in the digital age, it's happening more and more. Orini Kaipara's experience is one of the more high-profile examples of misappropriation.
I got a shock because the first thing I saw was this. And I know my kanohi, I know my moko, and I just thought, what? And then I saw a price tag on it. I reacted. I don't think I overreacted, but I reacted in a sense where, You know, I posted up on my page, on my Facebook, asking people for help.
The name of Jesus is being lost, which is why
But for a church group of all people to be caught out doing the same
the
thing,
true meaning of the season. The Hope Project has connected with millions of Kiwis through booklets and national media, and is a unique ongoing vehicle to give a voice to what matters.
explain how it all went wrong.
We've never had anything like that before. We've told numerous stories across the last decade. So I immediately jumped my mind through all the different images that we had used, and one image stood out. And when I investigated, I realised that if that image was recognisable, we would have seriously broken tikanga. We've really stuffed up. So yeah, we called an emergency board meeting to work out what we were going to do, and basically decided on a policy of trying to be open and honest. We've done it wrong, and we represent the Christian faith. We can't do anything but be open and honest. We've stuffed up. But to then connect with those we had most offended, and probably within the process to let our actions speak more loudly than our words if we could.
But how to protect identity, mana, when it's open slava on the internet? All of this overshare online, most of that can be harvested.
So of course one of the local iterations or developments of this kaupapa has been the Y262 claim. The fact that that's 30 years old, there are ongoing work streams, in particular the Tiaki Taonga work stream, which is again people working on how do we look after that cultural intellectual property in ways that, you know, are tikanga-led.
And add to the mix the runaway train that is AI, artificial intelligence.
It's one thing to breach the intellectual property rights, say the copyright, for example, of one individual creative and a particular identifiable piece of art or product. AI can go and generate something that's completely generic. So a kanohi Māori or a piece of toi mahi Māori, so misuse of koru or kōwhaiwhai, of tāmoko designs, and that's a different kind of breach or damage or hara, if you like, because it's about disconnecting those things from their whakapapa Māori. So when it's attached to an artist or creative, they have that in mind. Their knowledge, their skill, creativity comes from somewhere. It's connected to things, to places, to iwi, but AI is not.
Artificial intelligence is impacting all creative industries, but for Te Rāwhiti-roa, it's a double blow for both his culture and as an artist.
I don't even know how that's okay for a Pākehā. Would a Pākehā be okay with your uncle's head being taken off and replaced? You can't accidentally take someone's head off. You can't. That was not an accident. That was done deliberately. And good on whoever did it for showing up here to hear this kōrero. And may that never, ever, ever, ever happen again.
Yeah, Rāwhiti-roa, just for public apology and public statement of the same as well. We've used an image of yours without your permission, and that is wrong. We have taken away your agency to decide what your artwork would support. We've also taken away your ability to protect those that you're a custodian of by nature of artwork. You know, and you mentioned that to me, and I immediately understood the heart of what you're saying there, and that any person doing art or telling a story is in some ways a custodian of someone else's story, and this is the desire to protect it. We took that away from you.
Now, why was it important for you to front up?
Yeah, I'd say Rāwhiti-roa was very gracious when we eventually made contact and were able to talk about this. For us to have caused harm in the way we have is a contradiction in terms, in that we represent the Christian faith, and so we definitely had to front up, and it was Rāwhiti-roa who suggested that we engage maybe in a tikanga process to actually address it with a few components to that, which included the hui, you know, that we've had today.
I wanted those two messages. One, it's not okay, don't do it. Two, if it happens for us, here's a ara to make it better. And I think, you know, like their group, I think they really got it and went, wow, this is an amazing way of reconciling that, you know, that wrongdoing.
Once the Hope Project was alerted to what had happened, they actively began to recall 1.4 million copies of the Easter pamphlet. How many were you able to kind of retrieve?
We're looking at somewhere over 300,000. We've been even getting rid of them out of our office just so there's none left. That's sort of the thing. It's, we would like this in the past. Unfortunately, our example is going to be the example of how not to do it, but then begging the questions, you know, what do you need to know if you're the CEO of an organisation around what correct tikanga and protocol will be around graphics and about telling a story and really bringing that into the forefront.
We can't stop people stealing our imagery. Like, people are going to steal it, and especially with AI and all that sort of stuff. We can't actually stop it. We can keep vigilant for it. I think like we need to learn more about that copyright law as Māori artists especially. And I think that could be one kaupapa that we can really dive into so that we all know and there's a shared understanding of that sort of stuff so we can back each other up.
People are going to be sorry. You don't have to rub their nose in it, because the sorries, if it's pono, tika, you're going to feel it and see it, and that's essentially what we saw in the messages that were sent to us. But then in today, you saw it again at another level.
The picture is me, it belongs to me. There's hours and hours worth of artwork in my body that have been invested through my sisters, through the tattoo artists, through the moko artists. There's scars in there that only I have, and they tell awesome stories about my life. I just wanted to make sure my family were okay. So it's been a positive outcome.